Good day, everyone. Good day to our thesis advisor, Mr. Carmo Margadon, to our chairperson, Ms. Casey Nuestro, to our majoring critic, Ms. Lay Melendres, and to our English critic, Ms. Catherine Campo, and to our professor, Dr. Mary Jean Plata Herrera. I am Jonalyn Faminiano Gacol, together with my groups, Florence Tambuong, Maribel Magbata, Rachel Data, and Edelwin Perez. We will presenting our research entitled The Perception of the Immediate Local Community and the Effects of Mangrove Forestry and the Ecotourism of Sitio Ponganil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental, Mindoro.
Good day everyone, my name is Florence Tambuong and here is the introduction. In the last several decades, tourism has grown to be a significant social and economic activity in many parts of the world. Tourism studies demonstrate that the industry has been able to contribute to the economy of the country. Tourism is now regarded as a type of motivation that underpins a person's want to go to a site other than their usual domicile, as well as the desire to rest and engage in completing activities to pass the time. The concept of mass tourism is being phased out in favor of ecotourism, which focuses on niche interests. Green tourism is a type of ecotourism that is geared at educating diverse Faucian meanings. Ecotourism also contributes significantly to people's income, cultural preservation, and environmental preservation activities. Mangrove forests are being developed for mangrove tourist activities for communities along shorelines. Mangrove ecotourism strategies are developed by incorporating mangrove conservation and rehabilitation activities into tourism programs, encouraging participation and strengthening the tourism community. Because of the unique qualities of the flora and fauna, mangroves areas offer a significant potential for tourism development. The Philippines is a 7,100 island archipelago flanked by mangrove forests, seagrass beds, and coral reefs along 36,300 kilometers of coastline. Food, other goods, and services are reliant on this coastal surrounding in more than half of the country's 1,500 towns and 42,000 villages. Fishing and forestry are items produced by mangroves. Mangroves provide coastal protection from typhoons and storm surges, as well as erosion, flood regulation, sediment trapping, nutrient recycling, wildlife habitat, and nurseries. Through the introduction and development of ecotourism, Filipino communities in coastal areas utilize the economic benefits of mangrove forests. Sitio Pucanil is a coastal community in San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental Mindoro, Philippines, where locals value the benefits of mangrove ecosystem in their daily lives. The mangrove woodlands of Sitio Pucanil have a lot of promise as a community draw. The community's growing interest is conducting special interest tours or ecotourism, which is backed by tourist attractions and the potential of various flora and fauna. Demonstrates this. The mangroves in Sitio Pucanil have undoubtedly become an important part of the surrounding community's life and economy, necessitating conservative management to ensure the locals' continued existence. One of the many factors of consider for developing conservation projects is an initial assessment of how the local community benefiting the said local perceives the mangrove forestry's effects on their ecotourism and community as a whole. This information will be extremely useful to the community and the local government in determining which activities will be implemented to protect the mangrove forests of Sitio Pucanil. This can also be used by community leaders to assess community members' willingness to participate in policy making and program formulations related to mangrove forest protection. The researchers want to know how far mangrove forestry has progressed in situ Pucanil, as well as the local community thinks about the effects of mangrove forestry on their ecotourism. Significance of the study. The researchers are confident that the study's finding will benefit the following groups. The first one is the local community of Sitio Pucanel. The local community of Sitio Pucanel will greatly benefit in these scholarly invaders as they will realize the importance of their participation and conservation of mangrove forests to boost the kind of ecotourism being promoted in their locality. Second, the local community of Barangay San Roque. The findings of this study will help the community of Barangay San Roque, especially the barangay leaders, because this study will help them to identify the necessary community environmental programs that will respond to the needs, development, and promotion of the Sitio Pucanil mangrove forest. Next is local government unit of Bulalakaw. The LGU Bulalakaw will benefit from this study because it will identify the willingness of the community of Sitio Pucanil to participate in policy formulations. The local community of Sitio Pucanil needs to be empowered to decide what types of tourism facilities and wildlife conservation programs they want to be developed in their community, as well as how tourism costs and benefits will be shared among different stakeholders. Next is ecotourism advocates. Ecotourism advocates will find the result of this study helpful because they can be able to see this as a reference for the advocacy projects relative to coastal area conservation and mangrove forest protection they intend to do in the future, especially in Bulalakaw District. The last is the future tourism researchers. Future tourism researchers will also benefit in this study for future references. Statement of the problem. This study will be conducted to determine the perceptions of the local community of Sitio Pucanil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental Mindoro, and the effects of mangrove forestry in the ecotourism. It aims to find answers to the following research questions in particular. Number 1. What is the status of mangrove forestry in Sitio Pucanil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental Mindoro as viewed by the immediate local community? What are the effects of mangrove forestry in the ecotourism of Sitio Pucanil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental Mindoro based on the experience and perceptions of the local community? What are the feelings of the local community about the effects of mangrove forestry in the ecotourism of Sitio Pucanil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental Mindoro? What are the efforts made by the local community in the mangrove forestry as part of ecotourism of Sitio Pucanil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental Mindoro?
Research methodology. This chapter covers the research design, study participant, sampling technique, instrument validity, data collection procedure, and data treatment. Research local. The study will be conducted at Sitio Pucanil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental Mindoro. Sitio Pucanil is a small village situated in a coastal area with only 35 families, surrounded by 1.5 kilometers of mangrove forest along the coastline. The local population of Sitio Pucanil makes a living primarily from the blessing of the ocean. Respondent of the study. The 15 participants of the study are specific residents of Sitio Pucanil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental Mindoro for at least 5 years and whose age range from 18 years old and above. They were selected as they are directly leaving the place for over a long time and they are believed to provide essential responses for the study. Dito sa respondent of the study, pumili lamang kami ng 15 tao o mga nakatira na doon na almost 5 years na silang nakatira because we believe and we all know that yung mga tao na kinuha namin yung 15 participants na kinuha namin ang mga kasagot sa mga questions namin regarding din sa study namin. Instrumentation. The researcher will design a closed-ended survey questionnaire and open-ended interview guide questions to collect data from the respondents, which will be highly valuable in obtaining replies related to the study's research goals. The closed-ended survey questionnaire that is based on a 5-point Likert scaling will be used to determine the status of mangrove forestry in situ Pucanil. Each question's topic will prompt respondent to select whether they strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or severely disagree. Scaling and quantification. The status of mangrove forestry in situ Pucanil, San Roque will be measured through the weighted mean of their responses in the closed-ended survey questionnaire. The following scaling and quantification will be used to determine the status of the mangrove forestry of the said respondent locality. Numerical scale 5, statistical limits 4.50 to 5, verbal interpretation strongly agree, status very high. Numerical scale 4, statistical limits 3.50 to 4.49, verbal interpretation agree, status high. Numerical scale 3, statistical limits 2.50 to 3.49, verbal interpretation neutral, status moderate. Numerical scale 2, statistical limits 1.50 to 2.49, verbal interpretation disagree, status low. Numerical scale 1, statistical limits 1 to 149, verbal interpretation strongly agree, status very low. Thank you for listening for our research entitled The Perception of the Immediate Local Community and the Effects of Mangrove Forestry and the Ecotourism of Sitio Pucanil, San Roque, Bulalakaw, Oriental, Mindoro. The room is now open for the recommendations, questions, and suggestions. That would be all. Thank you.